Dun, 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 dun. Coming, sort of. Yep, we're there.
All right. Just wait for the notification. Oh,
Get your notifications there.
Yep, I got it. I clicked it.
Because we won't get the one on the screen here because we're not going live to the YouTubes because this is just the watch along. So
no problem. Well, I see us up on the Facebook, so I don't see anybody logged in yet. But
oh, there's one. That may be you.
No, maybe. So I'll just pause so I hear a couple of. Oh, no, it is three. All right, well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another week of Andor, August, and then some, and we're basically about to crack the and some and then some.
I think after this episode we have to stop calling it the we got to rebrand and just go back to the watch along.
Yes. Well, welcome. Welcome to that week of the watch along. My name is Spencer. I'm one of your hosts for the evening. Your producer is Dave. Dave, how are you?
Good evening. I am doing well.
Awesome. And we have two special guests joining us for tonight, joining us from two different shows up on the Virtual Cantina Network. First and foremost, the host for the Unifying Force, we have Kat. How are you?
All right.
And from Rebels Revisited, we have Ashley. How are you, Ashley?
Hey, Spencer. I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Glad to be back after my voyage on planet last week. So
nice.
Glad to be back. But we're gonna watch episodes 3 and 4 from Andor, and I know they started last week with Dave and Jeff and Bryce joining that, and because there was not a unifying force due to people traveling and stuff, I'm very interested. Yeah, whatever. You met Ronald once. So
that's right.
So you get that. But going into episodes 1 and 2, I mean, I think out of everybody that has watched it or has reviewed stuff on our page in the network, Kat, is this the Star Wars we've been fighting about and talking about for the last 2 years in on our shows lately?
Like, is it what we wanted? Yeah, I'd say it is.
Elaborate, because I know you're the biggest film critic I know, first and foremost. And then second of all, we've been talking about, since we started the Virtual Cantina, how you've been a huge advocate for a Dunkirk spy thriller, dirty, gritty Star Wars.
Yeah, I like that this series is more mature and that it doesn't, so far anyway, it's not relying on cameos or a joke every 5 minutes. It's not episodic. The first 3 episodes very much felt like the first act of a movie. And it's like, okay, they're kind of reeling in. I like that they're taking time. It feels more character-driven. And all the supporting characters even have a lot more nuance than in any of the other live-action Star Wars series so far. I like that it seems like it's going to be a long-form story all the way through. Like, Mandalorian kind of started that way in Season 1 with the first 3 episodes, and then after that it became real episodic and so on. This feels like it's going to be going on, because they've already told us it's going to be 2 seasons, that it's going to lead into Rogue One. They've clearly already planned out the whole thing, so it sounds like it's actually going to be not so much an adventure of the week as it's going to be, it's like you're telling a movie that you've broken up into 12 chapters.
Right.
And I like that. And it just feels very different. Because it's like, you've kind of been waiting for this, because it's like, you can do cameos and stuff in a show every once in a while, but don't build the show around that. And so far they haven't done that, and I like that.
Okay, so one thing they talked about at Rebels Revisited this past week, and Ashley can elaborate a little bit on this, but I want to ask you, Kat, is Star Wars falls into the cliche of the orphan and all that jazz. Does that bother you that it's happened again?
Yeah, it is, but so far it seems they're not dwelling on it too much, and I hope they don't, because that's just, frankly, really lazy. It's like, you're aware that there's other types of people you could write about, right? enjoy that Andor, one, that they've planned it all out, and I do think it feels a bit more dramatic. Because again, they're taking it's a bit of a slow burn, and I like that. It's not like in a rush to get to the next set piece.
I agree. I would probably say, and I would talk to you about this, Dave, is that at least with episode 1, it felt, at least initially, with Andor walking through downtown, and the brothel, felt very Blade Runner-esque.
Absolutely, very reminiscent of that.
And I like that it's kind of darker too. Like you have the scene outside the brothel, and juxtapose that against the beginning of Rogue One when he kills the informant. Well, in Rogue One, the informant was injured and couldn't go with him, and clearly would have ratted him out because he was scared. Whereas here, it's like he accidentally kills the guy that was harassing him. His buddy apologizes profusely and is willing to go, and yet Cassian deliberately thinks about it and shoots him just execution style. I was like, wow. I was like, that's really dark, and I love that. Because it's like they don't care if the protagonist is particularly likable or not.
So one of the things I'm also loving about this, obviously, because the fact that first and foremost is it was obviously filmed over in England, so they're utilizing a lot of the known actors, from overseas. But we'll get into this after we watch episode 4. But we've had 2 so far, and if you watched episodes 3 and 4 before we get into it, 2 Potter people with some reasonable screen time. Obviously, you got Fiona Shaw, who plays Marva Andor, which was absolutely incredible. She's a phenomenal actress out there. And we'll talk about the second one in after episode 4. But I know when I texted Ashley about it, I'm like, oh my god, this is Figs. What was your thoughts about that when you figured out who it was?
I was like, Miss Fig. I know she's a squid, but she honestly saved Harry and Dudley and Harry Potter. So it was good to see her back and acting again in this one and having another meaningful role. And they got some really good, really nuanced actors in this show in particular. And like you said, no bit parts in this whatsoever. Like even a random hand person in the shop that goes in with Mon Mothma. He's got something going on there too. He's kind of a spy. So multi-layered.
Well, and in other properties, they could have used that for like a cameo, a known actor, somebody to just kind of put in there, and they haven't,
Mm-hmm.
So that's respect.
It's fan service in the best ways.
Yeah. So what's scaring me in some capacities is, as somebody who started a cast piece with Diego already and sent it in for Genevieve, I started making a list, and I'm like, I'm going to have to be very picky-choosy by the end of this thing, because there's so many people that are probably going to have, major scenarios in here. But I guess the biggest thing I'm saying right now, I think about Andor, and I thought this after the first 2 episodes, is that, even more so, is that, we've been talking about the Virtual Cantina Network since day 1, that a lot of us wanted a more darker, gritty, adult-themed Star Wars, that we were ready for it. And then people are like, but this is not Star Wars. And I'm like, but...
You know what this is? I thought about it. I was trying to remember an analogy earlier. This is the Rogue One that Gareth Edwards promised us in April 2015 that they didn't give us. Because Rogue One, I like it, but it's not the gritty thing that Gareth Edwards was talking about. Because that was, again, they invested in the whole orphan story, the classic Star Wars hero's journey, the fun little characters, all the bit roles filled. They had, Sherut Nimue, your new versions of, R2-3PO, if you will, all this kind of stuff. Whereas this isn't, they're introducing certain characters, and I like that I don't really know where it's going yet. You can't really predict that these characters are going to do that. Especially with I guess we'll see it in this 3rd episode, the cop who wants to he's ambitious, and he wants to lead the investigation, but there's a lot more to his character. He's not just some one-dimensional guy, and it's like, wow, this guy's even going to have a nice little arc or so. And I kind of like that. It's very, they actually it's like they thought about their characters before they jumped into it. They're not just so. It's going to be much. So far, it's much better than the Kenobi series and the Book of Boba Fett. I think this is going to be a winner.
I mean,
And
this
do you
is.
think? Oh, sorry. Do you think that Gareth and Diego kind of had the discussion to kind of, and Tony too, to an extent, to just kind of flesh out where they wanted it to go, and then Tony Gilroy was like, "Hey, that is what I'm going to do with this. I have the chance to do it. I'm going to honor that vision, and I'm going to make it happen."
Probably because, as we know, Gareth is still on somewhat good terms with Lucasfilm. They did keep him around for cameos and stuff like that, and they let him come back and direct the Vader scene. And Tony, yeah, he rewrote and directed the third act of Rogue One, and while he said some things which were misconstrued at the time, he was just kind of surprised that the studio was in a bit of a disarray when he came in to take over that movie. He still really liked the content, and he liked the material. And I like that he seems all in on this show. Like, he seemed really enthusiastic about it when reading interviews. I wouldn't be surprised if Gareth did pitch in a few ideas, because this does so far feel a lot grittier. It's and maybe that's something the Lucasfilm's more open to now after some of their other shows. I mean, granted, this has been in the works for a while. Like I think they filmed this last year. But it's like we want to. It's sort of like you have on the one hand, you have Mandalorian storytelling, which is really fun, fan service, great, and now this is another, in a sense, more mature. Not in the sense that it's not for kids, because kids can still watch it and enjoy it. It's just that it's not as fast paced. It's not rushing to the next set piece. It's not cameo driven. Yeah, you have a cutesy little droid already, V2, but it's not like intrusive to the story. It fits right in. And the mystery, and they set up the mystery so well right off the bat. It's not just that he's an orphan for the sake of having an orphan. There's actually a whole big compelling story behind that we don't know yet. Because in Rogue One, he tells Jin defiantly, like, I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. But we see here that he's not exactly been in the rebellion fight. He's a con artist. He's like a survivor. This is what he does. And so it's like, okay, if that's who he is, he's kind of, he's tricksy, he's kind of alarmed. He's a killer, and that he's willing to do that if he needs to get by. So he's a more fleshed out, complex character already, and I like that. You don't
when he was he pulled his Kylo Ren and got pissed off at the screen, just started beating the crap out of it.
I knew you'd say that.
But see, he's saying that in a good way because he likes Kylo Pitch-a-Fit Ren.
Oh, yeah.
And I just have little nitpicky things about it, which is that the kid doing that from that point is like 10 or 11 years old. This is not, I'm in this fight since I was 6. Maybe, I hope that we'll find out maybe what precipitated all of them being orphans. They'll go backwards and say, that's been happening. It's over the 5 or 6 years since he was 6 years old.
And that's what Mark and I kind of touched on earlier this week on Rebels Revisited. We thought that the disaster happened probably around that time when once the Empire started cracking down on Kenari and they lost all their parents. And that was when they really had to fight with the Empire to survive and to live. So raising his sister, his baby sister, essentially, and since that time, it's easy to see that it has been that long for him. So at least 6 or 7 years.
So I have two thoughts I'll ask you. I want to run them both by Dave.
Uh-oh.
Dave, do you think it's a little bit liberating, the fact that we know Andor's endgame?
I don't know. I don't know if that makes me more curious as to what happens in between or less, because like everybody said, every time we've put up the no spoilers post, they go, everybody dies, and I'm like, you're not wrong. So it's going to go that way.
Right.
It's going to go the way you think.
Yeah, is I'm not overly positive which way. I think I really want to see more of what made Cassian's motivations the way they are in Rogue One. And then, of course, everybody dies. And I think it will be amazing and hopeful that this, not this season, because we're promised that the way it rolls into the next, is how we see how the ending of this series, how seamlessly it rolls right into the beginning of Rogue One. Just the way, Rogue One is, Star Wars Episode 3.95 and just rolls right into A New Hope.
I can't watch Rogue One without saying, so I don't care how late it
Yeah.
gets. I have to watch. No. And the second question is, and this is maybe a prediction or anything of that nature, because I know we like to throw harebrained schemes and ideas out there. What if the sister ends up being part of Saw's gang?
That's what I said on Monday.
Yep. But I'll one up it one more time.
Oh.
If you watch in Rogue One, Saw's right-hand henchwoman was Samantha Aileen.
Interesting.
And if Sam ends up being in the show,
That
just
would.
throwing that out there as an idea.
It could be. It could be an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Is I don't know how confusing that gets unless you tie this character, if his sister is Sam, into Sam's other rebel character. That she already has a rebel face character, does she not?
She does. She has this rebel trooper in Rise.
So, so I don't know. That may be a
I'm just
reach.
throwing it out there, but it's a reach. But we've had more convoluted ideas out there. But one thing I'm actually really excited about, and I wish Mark was here, especially when we get to episode 4 tonight, is I am so glad that we added Solo into our watch-along series for Andor, because
spoilers.
Implications, which we'll talk about later on, but also as we picked apart Dryden Voss's boudoir.
Oh yeah.
The parallels in episode 4 of Andor are uncanny, and then some, especially because of what we've been watching for the last umpteen amount of weeks now. It's absolutely fantastic. So if you've been playing along at home with your board, there's check marks all over the freaking place, and then some.
I want to see Mark's notes. I really do. I'm going to check the Google Doc later because it's probably already in there.
But I want to play a couple of things right now. Obviously, keep an eye out on the VCN. A bunch of new stuff. A new episode of the Jedi Archives coming this weekend with Bryce and Mike. Very excited about that.
And this is a departure episode. This is very different than episodes they've done in the past. They're, kind of reviewing the High Republic, the new Phase 2 as a whole, as opposed to reviewing an individual comic. So it's going to be a big overview and kind of get you prepped to jump right into Phase 2 if you're, inclined to do so.
Yep. And also, obviously, we've got Rebels Revisited coming back on Monday, which would be absolutely fantastic. It's been a great show and a lot of great conversations going on there, so greatly appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
But also, we're about 7 months away from Celebration, people. We're about to start getting into big-time celebration season. So keep an eye out on the page. Obviously, Joanna put a teaser out yesterday about our 2023 racer, which I have to say, and I told this to Dave, like, I always said the new one we come out is always my favorite, and I love this one, and I just realized today, I was like, something? It might be my favorite, but my favorite is probably going to be the one we do after that, because every jersey we do just gets better and better and better. But damn, this one is good. What do you think, Dave?
I mean, for those watching who haven't bought and experienced a racer, they're great. It's a wonderful, really slicky, shiny material. They feel great on. You can wear them with a t-shirt underneath. You can wear them without. What you love about them is how much they make you stand out at a con. They are really kind of similar to some of the stuff that the 501st has. They have some same racers because I think we've used the same company. But in a good way, you get mistaken and asked a lot about the racer and are you a member of the 501st and which garrison? And you get to go, no, we're those other nerds that do the other thing. is that you get to explain and talk to yourself. But I've had members of the 501st come up to me and go, "Hey, where'd you get this racer?" Is like, I don't have one of those, that kind of thing.
That's cool.
And it's like, no, this is another group that you can join, and you too could have this racer. But
Yes.
And you don't have to make costumes.
that's right. But we will
Stress out
anyway.
about that.
Except for when you're someone like me who likes to pride himself going to cons and having a new shirt for every 5 minutes, not including just the autographs. But now
Yeah.
I'm like,
He does.
I kind of need to be a billboard at this point. I can't not rep us. But yes, Bryce, just let you know, I will have the hockey jerseys in hand next week.
Aha.
So as soon as I get them back, I will post pictures and get them shipped out. I'm very excited about mine, and I know Dave, you got your Palpatine jersey.
Palpatine jersey?
Did you ask for Palpatine as your name?
What? You better not be putting. You better not screwed up my name on my hockey jersey. I'm saying.
Euro Palpatine, dude. You sent me on your.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember what number you had, but I chose 37 for.
Of course you did.
Of
course you did. It's a given.
Yes, come on. It's a hockey jersey, and I got it.
Dave's Palpatine, the number has to be 37. That's how old Ian was when they filmed that movie.
I think he did 83.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
That's
wow.
what we're doing. It's my favorite Star Wars movie.
And there you go.
That's a good year. It's a very good year.
Was it the year you were born?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next year's my Return of the Jedi birthday. So I'm not saying what year. I'm just saying it's my Return of the Jedi birthday.
Well, we just kind of like.
I did now, but yeah, that's how I'm referring to it.
Wait a minute.
Oh, cute. So cute.
It's so fluffy.
It's so fluffy.
Dad.
Yep. But anyway, very excited about all our merchandise and honestly, gearing up with our swag for celebration right now. We got a couple pieces that are in production already, which are pretty incredible.
And I haven't showed you yet too. Is like some swag that I came up with today.
Okay, so you can show us in our meeting after.
Here's my Return of the Jedi swag for today.
Oh,
Ooh, Kevin.
That's
very
exactly
nice.
the deal.
Ooh, did you sign it?
No, I bought it on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah,
but I have to get it signed.
Yes.
If you want to.
Yeah, sure.
It has like a cool little sticker that goes with it too, I think.
Yeah, well, he gave that away at Celebration. The sticker.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's like a little sticker that he'll get that you can either put on the book or this stuff. It's like, nope, can't, nope.
It's like a medallion. It's kind of cool.
Shiny.
Yes. But no, we got a lot of great stuff. So everybody, please make sure that you have episode 3 of Andor all queued up on the D Plus machine. And obviously, as well, is that we're about to get to October, which means that at the end of October, as part of our happy hour on Tuesday, we are going to do a watch-along of Tales of the Jedi. So,
that's right.
So we're going to have Star Wars. It's not just going to be Marvel coming out. And not a lot of people saw it the other day, or at least anything we talked about on Happy Hour. But the Major Domo showing up in last week's episode of She-Hulk.
I lost my mind. It was. I was like, I know him.
Yes.
My mom was like, "Why are you shouting?" Because she loves She-Hulk, and I was like, "You don't understand. It's the Major Domo of." And she was like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." So.
Well, I'm gonna have to say Obama stay. That's all I have to say about this week.
Okay. Last thing I gotta say while we're on this topic of like Star Wars and Marvel, incest. Did we see the rumors about who they may have offered a big part to in the MCU?
I did. We'll see if he actually wants to do it. And speaking of that, did anybody see the teaser trailer that got leaked by accident from a video camera from D23?
No, I did not.
Oh, I have
I'm
not
trying
seen
to
that
avoid
one.
that.
I couldn't
refuse to watch it. I hear it's very poorly filmed as well. No.
Oh, that's good to
Yeah.
know.
I'll wait.
Yep. Bryce just did the spoiler. So here's a question: if he ends up being Ross, that's going to be kind of interesting, considering that Ross in real life just passed.
Yeah.
I think I just give him a different name.
Oh, they won't.
A brother.
Because they'll take it with the backstory and do it, because remember, they've more or less disavowed those movies that those exist, and I don't
Right.
think he's in the MCU at this point, so they'll keep
Wait,
it.
Well, I mean,
What? Are you talking about disavowing like the original Incredible Hulk movie?
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
they've
Well,
come back around by bringing Blonsky back.
well, and
Yeah.
they've made little tongue-in-cheek, mentions to it in She-Hulk. It's like, I was a completely separate person back then, literally. It's like, but
So we'll see.
Hey.
And there's also rumors going back to before they started filming Guardians 3 that James Gunn was in talks with Mark Hamill to play the creator of Rocket,
That would be cool.
which is another thing that goes back to my theory.
oh yeah, they just it's easier to call someone whose phone number is already in your phone than to go
Exactly.
through 50 new actors.
The Mouse House is incestuous in that it's the old, it's
Yeah.
like MGM back in the day or Paramount, where you're signed to a contract with the studio and then
Yeah.
you end up showing up like in
All of the
all
properties.
the properties.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's what I was kind of talking about with Mike Flanagan when I met him at HorrorCon CT. I was like, you've gotten to work with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and now you're working with Luke Skywalker. Like, that's incredible. He goes, I know. I just can't believe my life right now. So it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. So yeah, so we're about a good number of people in the group. Welcome, welcome. If you're just joining us, we're going to start with episode 3 of Andor in another minute or so. But once again, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And also, if you have any ideas for other shows that you might be interested in doing for the VCN, or ideas for anything to do with the page as we're getting ready for celebration, please, reach out to us. Dave, what's the email address for the VCN if they have any questions that they want to pass on?
2 emails. If you forget, it's easy to remember. You can email us at virtualcantina@gmail.com or the Virtual Cantina Network at gmail.com. Virtual Cantina Network or the Virtual Cantina Network at gmail.com. Both of those go to us. We see them all. We screen them all. We use the ideas, steal, beg, borrow, and sometimes give credit to right here on the show.
But also, he's not here to try to defend himself. But don't say something on air and not get upset at the fact that we decided to use it and say, hey, guess what? You're doing that because Mark is living proof of the fact of, I wish I could do a Rebels podcast. Okay.
Well, can make that happen.
There you go.
I mean, I have no complaints because it's a lot of fun, but...
I know. Well, there you go. Well, the thing is, and before we get started, I just want to say that it was another Kismet kind of situation, because when we came up with Unifying Force, the first person I thought of to run that was Kat. Like, off the bat, I was like, she needs her own, like, philosophical kind of show. And then when Mark's like, okay, I'm going to do a show about Rebels, and I'm like, okay, well, you got to call Ashley. Like, that to me, that was just like, yeah, that was a no-brainer in itself as well. So it kind of works out that way, which is pretty awesome.
It writes itself.
Yeah, exactly. I love it when it does that. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Anyway,
plan comes together.
Yes.
Hi, sorry.
Have I ever steered you wrong? No, sorry.
They never let us
Uh,
So, anywho, let's do the 5-second countdown. And for this one, Kat, why don't you do the countdown for this one? Because I know the next one is very Rebels-centric. I'll have Ashley count on top of that. So,
And a quick, we do watch the recaps and the logos, right?
yes.
oh, yes.
Okay. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
So it's very interesting that, like, with Fremore is very much like Cloud City, if you want to use that comparison. That it's like its own autonomous, like, country or state that's trying to keep the Imperials out of it. Obviously, I'm not going to ruin some stuff because obviously, it goes to the fate of Cloud City. But is it fair to do that kind of like comparison?
Well, I mean, I took it to mean that this was an interesting thing that they were talking about and telling everybody about, as how the Empire is using rent-a-cops and corporate security on everything, and that sort of thing is filtering in, and that's what people are afraid of, to try and keep things independent.
Yeah. Well, if you look at these these flashbacks right here from the recap, I mean, those soldiers that crashed on Canary had separatist logos on their sleeves.
Right.
So it's interesting that that. I love the fact that B is now in the opening credits.
I swear they have to have like at least one QC or knowledgeable objects from each show that go in these credits, so it works out.
Yeah, but it's very interesting. Like, for example, going back to before I go there, what's very interesting is also with the logo right here. Before you see the logo, it's almost like it's eclipse, and then it's opening before the dawn. It's like the light at the end of the tunnel kind of scenario. This is the beginning of a new. I don't want to go Twilight on you, but a new dawn. Kind of scenario, and have it. I know that was horrible.
But you did.
Yes, but I went there.
I don't think that's the name of that book series or that book, but isn't that I can't remember. Isn't that a Star Wars book? I can't remember. Maybe. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, that's a Rebels book.
Yeah.
It's Breaking Dawn in Twilight, and I hate myself for knowing that.
Oh,
Yo, daughter, it's fine.
I like this shot here of him.
You're around kids all the time,
Yeah.
Crawling through the tunnel. It looks like an Imperial logo.
Yeah, that's cool. And I love how he's got his boots like stuffed with cloth so it fits him, and tied with rope so it stays on. Like, you can tell these kids have all like scavenged these clothes from.
Well, and you can tell
miners.
what we were talking about earlier, that this has been going on for some time. They've had plenty of time to adapt to their situation on their own. All the huts and the whole village and thing that they'd built, and it's well lived.
And that poisonous gas, you can see it's already working on these guys.
Well, it's also think about that, also the fact that it kind of reminded me with the blow darts of, like Indiana Jones, like when the natives would have the blow darts, going after Indy, and Indy, blows it back at him and goes, reverse kind of scenario. But look at how shiny this is. I love the fact, we're about to see it before he goes on his Kylo, and obviously the screens are very much 70s-esque, like the graphics they had for the Death Star plans. But him seeing his face for the first time, that was very intriguing.
See, it took me a minute to get a read on, is this the first time, or has so much time elapsed since the last time he's seen his face that was the shock.
Right.
That was my iffy. I don't know.
And maybe he's just sad about how his life's gone since then, as he's smashing up everything.
Yeah, he's got a much better reason to throw a fit than to Kylo.
True story.
There we go. Yeah, is Lila? We are episode 3, and we're at 436. If you want to roll back into that. Now that was.
I like it. Like here, so. This is very much like the junkyard in Mandalorian, where you find Mayfield that had the walker, the film ticket walker. kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
But
Obviously,
that one was that a specific junkyard that we've seen before in the video games on that planet, or no? I thought
No,
that
I
had been.
remember Ord Mantell being the big junkyard planet from the Shadows of the Empire game, but I don't think that was. Ooh, I don't. I'm pretty sure they gave it a name because Mandalorian had a habit of giving all locations names. I just
Okay.
can't recall.
Maybe it wasn't that Mando we saw that in. Maybe was it in Bad Batch? I thought we've seen that somewhere that they were really alluding to Kestis.
but this is also very interesting because it reminds me of, like the coal workers or the iron workers of England. Like, if you see like the great unwashed, as they call them, coming off, when they had all their gloves hanging on the wall and,
Mm.
coming out, completely soot filled, from the day, and they want to get their pay, they go to the pub, go to Cantina, kind of working class. I mean, this is what I mean. I love episode 4 of this season for so many different reasons, and I like that guy's Nokia headset. But and then that Winnebago over there. But this is what reminds me of the fact that I love Attack of the Clones.
Well,
Because I love those behind, the dirt and grit of real life outside of the Skywalker stuff.
And the clothing everybody's wearing here looks closer to probably Earth clothing than I've seen in any Star Wars show or movie.
definitely. And this
The
is
guy in
taken
the
in just a
hat.
few episodes to introduce us into just a plethora of not only new characters, but like new ships. And you're getting a ton of like new little background droids and stuff, just simply like the little stair droid that comes down and takes it off the space bus or whatever.
Right. And like thing, I was saying because we have several long-term members who are like, this is not Star Wars, doesn't feel like Star Wars. And the thing is that what I look at it is that at first glance, it's not. It doesn't look like it, doesn't feel like it, but there's something innate about it that feels exactly Star Wars. But you can't necessarily put your finger on it unless you're, entrenched in the lore.
Honestly, I think this would be less accepted if Rogue One didn't come out first.
Oh yeah.
I think people would definitely be more up in arms about it if Rogue One didn't exist. Well, more so than usual.
Well, yeah, I mean, because
So,
of course people are up in arms in this already because,
Yeah.
you can't have Star Wars without complaining. I was going to talk earlier about how, we're loving the darker and grittier, but there's the whole faction that's complaining about it the same. The same way, when Batman 89 came out. No.
right.
Oh, why would you make Batman dark and blah, blah. And then the trilogy with Bale came out, and oh, what? And then went down that rabbit hole even further, and people lost their minds. But
And then
it's
they seemed to not throw a fit at how much actually darker the Matt Reeves movie was.
Yeah.
I'm the one throwing a fit at that one because
I love
still,
that one. Sorry.
I cannot get behind it. It did things to year two that I loved year two, the comics,
gotcha.
and it did things to that. No, sorry.
So I like that these people are just they just showed up here, and it's like, okay, you didn't shoot the thing down. You're not of the natives. You're not afraid of potentially getting killed by the natives of the other people. You're just going to steal some stuff and run for it. And how she just she just kind of sporadically makes this decision that she's going to take this kid, and it's like, I mean, yeah, she's right that they're all dead, but does she actually know that everybody he's with is actually dead, and there's no village for him to go back to?
Well, I thought, and I got the impression that she's thinking that the people that are going to come after this ship that's been presumably shot down are going to wipe out all of them, and they're saving him because of that.
Yeah, that's what I think too. It's like a motherly instinct with him.
So yeah, the security guard. That's funny, Steve, that you say that he kind of reminds you of Fat Bastard. That's pretty humorous.
There you go. That would have been fan service right there. Is to give that part to Mike Myers.
Speaking speaking of the Batman, the guy, the cop here, the partner, is the guy who played Commissioner Savage in the Batman earlier this year.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
That's where he looks familiar.
Yeah, his voice is that. Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's him. They just shaved off the beard and the mustache.
Okay, who else is predicting that Cyril is going to switch sides like by the end of the series?
Probably.
I know Mark was, but I don't know. He's kind of weaseling, but I don't know.
He's very Metro. I'll say that.
I mean,
I know you guys talked about he decided to change the piping and get his outfit tailored stuff. So.
oh yeah, here's the controversy: is he going to be the new Hot Callus?
There can be only one. I'm sorry. There can be only one.
I like there's a lot of dimensionality to his character too. Because on the one hand, he's ambitious, but on the flip side, you can tell he's not cut out for it, and that he's proud of what he's doing. But then he's been warned about all the terror. Like his boss warned him of all the bad things are going to happen if you try and pursue this line of inquiry.
Yeah.
And we'll get to it, I think, in the fourth episode when they develop that idea even further. But that's kind of what I like about it. Even his partner, the cop, it's like, yeah, we're rooting for Cassian. But his partner, we should be rooting against them, but they're not like bad guys. They're just doing their job. You know, they're trying to find out who killed their partners.
Yeah, but doing it in a very weaselly way.
Mm-hmm.
True.
I love Fiona Shaw. It's so good to have her in Star Wars.
Yep.
I recognize him too. One of my friends said he was in Snatch, but I haven't seen that movie in a while, so I'd have to go back and watch it.
Hello. I think it's just funny how everyone in Star Wars is, British or Scottish or whatever. I can't wait for them to land on like the southern planet. It's like, hey y'all, look at over there. They got blasters.
Well, I think the closest we've gotten to southern was Richard Brake in season 2 of The Mandalorian. Yeah, Little Boss. That's the closest we got.
Well, we got New England, we got Mayfield, and
Space Boston.
Space Boston. So they're out there somewhere, my people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so obviously we didn't talk about this. You guys talked about last week that there is underwear in space.
Okay, I have said it publicly, is Carrie would be just pitching a teetotal shit fit right here. It's like, no, George, you lied.
And this is definitely not your mother's Star Wars.
I think Carrie would also be happy that they're changing those types of things. Like she said, she told Daisy Ridley, as the series goes on, don't let them put you in a slave costume bikini like they did me. Like I should have put my foot down about that.
No, and I think this new world of Star Wars, like the more recent ones, and I know people call it PC or whatever, or virtue signaling or what have you, but it's more inclusive to women and their struggles and things that they deal with. So yes, there is underwear in space because we have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So.
And it showed to prove something, because if you notice that the one time that someone has a child in Star Wars, it seems to be an immaculate conception that they finally show that basically there is sex in Star Wars. Just throw it out there.
I mean, I don't know that was such a shock, because it's been strongly alluded to before, but it has.
What do you mean, Qui-Gon coming out smiling over at Shmi when she's walking, outside the tent?
No.
Yeah, that sly look, like next morning kind of look.
No.
Dave's like, la 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 la.
How pleased he was to greet her when they arrived for the pod race. Tell you later. Good morning. But that's another story.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's a theory that I have. I think Qui-Gon and Shmi Skywalker had a fling.
And we'll find out about the secret brother in another series.
oh no, not the continuation of the Skywalker saga.
I love how
Like, this is
the
Anakin.
people on Ferrix are like banding together. They're like, oh, there's police unit here. There's something going on, and they just have those any piece of metal they can get their hands on. They're banging on it, so it's really cool. Oh, Ahsoka. Sorry,
Yeah.
cat.
No problem. So I love the fact that with this, this is the scene that they showed obviously on D23 on D Plus Day, but also before the IMAX version of Rogue One. Is this could have been a scene in any spy thriller or espionage type of movie or TV show, like. Forget the pew pews that are coming up. Spoiler alert. The way that was shot and the set design is very much like I think on point. I mean, as someone who's a cinephile, what's your thoughts, Kat?
It is on point. It's like yeah, you can plug it in just about any series that you want to, and it fits right in. I mean, I get why people, or some of them are saying it doesn't feel like Star Wars because this doesn't have as much of the iconography, like you don't have the stormtroopers, the TIE fighters, stuff like that. But it's showing you, it feels more grounded, and that this is like about regular people who aren't caught up in the big drama of the Jedi, the Sith, and all of that. And so the writing kind of reflects that. It's like real people with real problems. Like right now, how the whole community is kind of working together to band against this problem, which you didn't really see.
Except for Tim.
Right, yeah, but it's like in the series, it's always like the main characters doing this stuff, and you don't really get like the people in the town or like the extras or whatever. Here, everybody's working together, and I'd like to point out that it's very intelligent of them to use a completely manual way of communicating instead of using radios like moron Bail Organa did in Kenobi.
There you go.
And Mark mentioned this on Monday. It's like the Twilight Bark and 101 Dalmatians, the banging on the pipes and stuff like that. So
Which made a Beskar.
Yeah, I saw that,
Beskar.
like Wikipedia posted that, and so I was like, "That's
so it's official.
that's canon." I mean, Wikipedia posted it that's a Beskar anvil, and I'm like, "That is a crap ton of Beskar."
I bet you they melted that down as soon as the Empire took over.
And if that's Beskar, then those hammers have got to be Beskar, I would imagine, to bang on the thing.
Mm-hmm. No wonder that guy looked exhausted.
So I love the space transmission shop here. I really do. Everything hanging from this, in not a bad way. It almost gives you like steampunk Star Wars vibe.
Not just that, this whole set, the tank hanging from the ceiling, the chains, and the lighting reminds me of the scene where Brett gets an alien, and he goes in looking for Jonesy. Here's Jonesy, and the camera pans up, and you're seeing the chains in the water, and you see the alien kind of sitting there, cradling, swinging back and forth. This looks just like that.
Yeah.
Like, no.
See me jumped. I was like, don't eat the kitty. Sorry.
And he ends up to be like Goose in
It's a flirkin.
Captain Marvel, the flirkin. So I'm gonna say it now because it's on my mind. I know it's in episode 4, but when anybody left, they saw Loki's staff sing in the middle of Lutheran's shop.
That's a little too much Marvel Star Wars crossover.
Skull.
Yes,
I know that's
we
still
did.
kind of in the Lucasfilm sphere, but
No,
Same actor.
well, and we've seen the fertility idol from Indy.
Yeah, that was the Crystal Skull actually from Star Wars, one of the original Han Solo spin-off books from I think the 80s or the 90s.
But the fertility god was there.
Yeah, I know Clone Wars had the staff of Ra and the Ark of the Covenant.
Yep.
Well, and again, Indy has had 3PO and R2D2.
Yes, true.
So, arguments that it is a shared universe.
After all, it's not a different universe. It's simply a long time ago in a galaxy
Far, far away.
So it's fair game.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you get the world between worlds. You introduce time travel, and it's all on. They're gonna, zap back to Earth and meet Indiana Jones.
Well,
And,
they had space whales.
yeah, well, they did have
Yeah.
space.
Now,
Captain,
do
there
you
be
guys,
whales here.
do you guys think that Luthen was given more information about Cassian by Bix in order to save him?
Yes.
And Lila, no, I don't think any of this is the volume. I think this is
No, this is all
live
practical.
sets.
I think so too. Yeah,
So
Yeah,
they
it's
said,
just too
well, I
good.
said it was the first Star Wars show that they did outside the volume.
Yeah, I think and it shows too, because the last two series, I mean, the visual effects industry is under a lot of strain, and maybe that's what played a role in shooting all on sets, because it looks a lot more real, because it is real.
Right.
It just feels more lived in. Probably feels like more of the used future than we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
It's like
But yeah, I agree with the point that he was probably told about Cassian, because again, he doesn't care about this MacGuffin. He's more interested in how did you get it, and that makes you valuable to me.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see how much more of how important the box is because, spoilers, they start talking more and other people get interested and want to go back after. Whether we see that that's just an excuse to get them into this chase for him or whether the thing is actually an important thing.
Well, did they get crushed in the battle here?
But I mean, it's not like a one. Is it like something that they will go after another one of, or something? Is it something that the rebellion needs? Is it something I don't know. I don't think it's like a one-off part, but is it something important?
He
Oh,
didn't
yep,
say he
iPhone
didn't say
tracker.
where he got it, did he?
I do not believe so.
Right. So that's another thing, because I mean, we'll get into it in episode 4 when we find out what he wants him for, but he got it there.
No, rule number one is that it's not about the comm link. Rule number one, there is no Fight Club.
Do you think Marva trained him in order to like just be able to scavenge all this stuff and like what to look for, what's valuable, and what's important?
I would say
So
'cause
Marva is Mary Poppins? Let it sink
But it
in.
seems like
Think
these
about
people
it.
were like hunter-gatherers and scavengers themselves, and so that combined with Marva being a more high-tech scavenger, she gets around a lot. Yeah, that definitely contributes to all of his skills that he has now, being a con man and a thief and all that.
Therefore, Cassian Andor is Star-Lord.
Yep.
No, because there'd be a draft off in the scene.
Oh, that would be hilarious, Lila, is to hang just like a pipe or something like on a chain next to your door. Like, that's how I'm going to start calling my kids in from outside.
No, but you don't have a triangle, so
I actually do, but
I think that's why I said that.
actually do.
I love Robert Storspool that Luthen is here. That he's actually thought this far ahead to plant booby traps for the meeting.
Booty traps? Booty traps? That'd be booty. No, sorry. Indiana Jones tie-in.
I
No,
was there with you, so I understand.
and then they're just like looking, and yet we don't get out of here. We're just watching. It's like,
That's another thing, is he could have told him while he was sitting there watching him about to come in, go grab the thing, go grab the Starcraft thing. And he didn't, so I don't...
Yeah, there's two of them.
Right.
Well, Luthen just said, a few minutes ago, he's like, listen, if all I'm leaving with is the box, it's fine, but I think I found something more valuable.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh. And this got to be like, the most ridiculous in a fun way. It's like, okay. Like, here,
Keystone
everybody who
Cops.
said this is slow, boom, forget you.
And he had pew pew right in the middle of it.
Yeah. There it is.
Keep running. Get the box.
Nope. Hey, stop standing there. Cassian is a contradiction. He's so cool under pressure, and sometimes, and he's got like almost the kung fu fighting vibes going. And then it's just like, shot comes from out of nowhere, deer in headlights. It's like, Um,
Ouch.
thump. You know,
They're just saving each other left and right here.
yeah. Well, and I guess, I mean, maybe this is an allusion to some things we'll talk about in episode 4 again, that Cassian's level of experience isn't what you think it is. He's not the seasoned rebel or whatever he is as he leads you to believe yet.
Well, that's what they're getting him to where we saw him,
Right.
as counterintelligence.
Yeah, but we thought, well, at least I thought, like from episode 1, he was almost already there. The way he took down the two guys, just like right off, is like he didn't want to fight. He didn't want to fight, but when it came down to, he kung fu flipping around, and then does
Oh,
not
Tim.
hesitate. So I think we're gonna get Bix is really going to be more important, and we're going to see this character carry through since they came out with a new character poster for her today. I think, or
Yeah.
that dropped. It's the first time I'd seen it, at least.
Well, snitches get stitches, Tim.
If you just kept your mouth shut, your girlfriend wouldn't be beat up and you wouldn't be dead.
I had a feeling he did it more because he didn't want her getting mixed up in Cassian's bullshit.
Exactly. It was
As
a
opposed
little
to-
bit
yeah,
of jealousy, but
There's a
more
little bit of
of
jealousy, but you could tell he didn't mean for that to happen.
yeah,
No.
definitely not.
But he did mean for Cassian to get it, so, on you.
Well, not necessarily they thought Cassian, they were going to kill him. It's like, oh, they're going to arrest him. Plus, like they say, Cassian's a murderer, which he is.
Mm.
Yeah, but also, if you look at what, from Tim's point of view, you got the ex-boyfriend who's still hanging around, and he's like, no, I'm the new guy. I want to make sure that you're out of the way, so I don't, I understand where he was going with that, but it backfired.
Yeah, it didn't go well, and I don't know if were they really concerned that Cassian's is a murderer or whatever, because I think all of them appear to be in a pretty shady business. I think they're kind of salvaging things that aren't completely legal salvage.
Well, yeah, salvaging. I don't get the vibe that they're killers necessarily.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
And this is where you realize, like, the extent that Cyril is in this. Like, you see how much of a coward he is as soon as that gun is to his head.
Yeah, he just fired at the Jawas. Like, what are you doing?
And then they just leave her handcuffed there. That's horrible.
Well, hey, how's it going? Nope, we're out.
Oh, this is great editing here. As she's
Oh, it
talking
really
about
is.
about the alarm system. To worry when it stops.
And it's so ominous the way she says it, too. So when it stops, then they really start to worry.
Of course, Scotsman's got a flask.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, like, you can see her breath, too. It's like it just became cold in there. This is like going for the sixth sense or something, It's like, what? Is Bruce Willis in the corner?
Well, you got the flask there. You got, like, an old-style canteen in episode 4.
Yeah, these are very swarzy weapons.
It's pointed out that these uniforms look like a ripoff of the Nova Corps uniforms from Guardians of the Galaxy.
They do, yeah.
Well, I was calling them bellhop uniforms.
Riley, we start to riot. So, which I'm going to say it again, Guardians ride at Epcot is the best ride ever.
Even more so than Rise?
Oh yes.
What kind of ride?
Okay.
We don't know that we accept that
it's
yet.
It's a souped-up Space Mountain, but better.
I
So
cannot
it's a
wait
roller
to
coaster.
ride it next
Yeah,
time.
it's a coaster.
Okay.
I'm so excited. I really hope I get on it.
Okay. If you
Oh,
do
it's one
the
of
first
those
one,
water-
Coward.
Oh,
Coward
yeah.
right here.
He's just like, nope.
In over his head. Just like Tim.
well, the hidden thing is that, besides the fact that coward, is that you got the typical like trope of the bad guy trying to corner the heroes, and all of a sudden from behind in the shadows, the hero comes with a gun to the back of his head.
But there's no like tact with him. He's just like, we have 12, 14. He's just like spilling everything for them.
Oh yeah.
So you can
saw
tell
like
he's
Solo
not
when
a
he
seasoned professional.
It's like Solo when he's on Santorini saying they have a bunch of mercenaries in the Falcon, and all he needs to snap his fingers and they come running out.
Oh.
Pretty much.
Yep.
This will.
And then the new
And this one has
ships.
the worst
We've got
driver
this one
ever.
too.
Oh, they got him good in this one. They got you trapped.
Yeah. And I mean, this.
Oops, about that leash.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is it's not like they're not tropes in this, but they're set up in a way that we enjoy. I mean, we've seen this in American Graffiti. We've seen this in Nicolas Cage movie.
Face Off.
No, the one with the stealing the cars. Come on.
Oh, Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah, Gone in 60 Seconds. So it's like not like we haven't seen these things before, but they're set up in such a way that it's like we're not beating you over the head. Where it's like, yep, we did that and we went on.
That's very so.
Oh, they did that in Con Air too, Lila. Yeah, they tied the plane off.
Or think about this. I was going to say, Force Awakens, when Poe and Finn are stealing the TIE fighter,
Yes,
and it's still plugged
it's
into
still
the power
tied to
circuit.
the thing.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah,
those two like clone dropships, Steve. Yeah, totally. Like maybe they just repurposed them for this once they
Okay,
were done
so
with the clones.
that's very primitive that they're going to hog tie the guy and leave him for dead.
This was a nice bait and switch kind of deal.
Yeah.
That was
That's
the
like
other
that's
thing.
the surprising thing. Because
Shuttle.
Cassian killed the other guy in the beginning because they saw him and he was going to report him, and yet this guy who gave him spilled the beans immediately, and yet he decides to spare him. That was a surprise.
Mm.
Yeah, that's not the Cassian way.
Yeah, because it seems like by the same logic he used to kill the first guy, he would have killed him. But, because he's already having second thoughts about it.
Does it mean that Cyril has like a Kristen Glover type of feel to him?
A little bit.
Yes.
So he's going to be replaced in the next season?
Yes.
He's like the
by
guy that
Jeffrey
plays
Lightstein.
Ramsay Bolton in Game of Thrones a little bit. That actor.
And did anyone else notice in this is that, speaking of Jedi, that the speeder bike has not improved design in probably about 15, 20 years?
Oh yeah, it's the same as the same. Or it's that same thing where they don't have they're not flush with the new technologies. I mean, in Mando, they're still riding around on Anakin's pod racer.
Yeah. And that man has a look of like, holy shit, this guy out of control fast.
Return of the Jedi is only 9 years after this, so.
Yeah. But how about that? It was awesome. And instead of screaming for medic, they're screaming for Bacta.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now he knows he's done it.
Look at B being useful.
He's so shiny in this. Like, he's not as battle damaged.
I like this little detail that they added. We don't usually see on the street bikes where you see it put, all the wind from blowing all the dirt out of the way as it's speeding over the ground.
Where's the Vespa crew? They should be in episode 4.
They are back in Saban Power Rangers where they belong.
Yeah. Yes.
Everybody just looks defeated right now. Like, absolutely, like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, because Tim was a jerk, but she cared.
There's gonna be more to him.
Oh, yeah.
Notice how the Keystone Cops didn't even think after this fight to go back and check on the prisoner to see, we should interrogate this person now?
Nope.
We'll just forget about it.
They were just done.
Benny
Gone.
Hill theme.
everything's on fire. People are dead.
Just
It's just a
standing there in
chaos.
his tailored
Him almost being
uniform.
like Cutler Beckett. It was the only good business. Like at the end of
World's End.
World's End, like with that stare look, he's like, "Oh f."
This ship is really cool.
It is. It is
It's
very.
got that Falcon cockpit look to
Yeah.
it.
Well, it's got a Falcon docking ring. It's got a Falcon cockpit. It's got a Falcon loading ramp. You know, you look at the interior, the hallways, and it's the same kind of curved deal.
Yeah. And that cockpit. Just, oh, so
I love
so
this
good.
escape parallel with the flashback.
Oh, it's great. And also when
Satellite
young,
dish.
young Casa, is looking off into the sunrise, into the horizon, and then older Cassian is looking, the same kind of like expression on his face.
Girl, that sun must be bright. Get a visor.
Oh, it's shining in there. And
I am looking forward to finding out what the mining project is all about, because Shimaro is so petrified at the idea of them finding out where Cassian came from.
yeah, it's what were they mining there?
Yeah, I mean, because you could kind of see it when the way it was cut up and everything. It didn't look like kyber crystal, and I wouldn't think it would be, because there wasn't any indication in Rogue One that they were even aware of the kyber crystal harvesting project until they went to Jeddah and saw that it was going on. So
Was that a
they could do
kyber
that
she had
hiding
hanging from that little charm on the mirror right there?
That was a Kyber with some thread, like
Tassel or something.
yeah.
There it is.
Did they ever get also the feeling that maybe they could have put the line in when they take young Cassie and his fate will be the same as ours?
Fan service.
Yeah.
Yeah, but music
I'm
is
not
absolutely
sure
on
Marvel
point.
would have said that when. Yeah, maybe. No.
Because it says obviously the Imperials are going to show up eventually, and that was another thing that kind of I guess got me is because sometimes when you're watching the premieres and other actors show up, they're like, oh, they're going to show up. Oh, they're going to show up. And then, they had like Emily Swallow and Leilani and a whole bunch of people just from the Daniel Logan all showing up at the premiere for Andor.
Yeah.
I didn't think about this till just now, but the credits of this show aren't the classic Star Wars credits. You don't have the blue on the starry background. It's just...
Right.
That's a first.
And not one part of it says D. Bradley Baker.
Yeah. But
it's also very intriguing because I know like when a lot of times we do this show, we're freezing on the cast names, and it's kind of refreshing that maybe I can name like one or two of them. I mean, obviously, it was exciting to see. We're going to hit pause for right now so we can chat a little bit about this episode. Is that Dave Chapman, who is one of the main puppeteers for BB-8, was a puppeteer and the voice of B in this past episode. And also, Aiden Cook, who played Two Tubes in Rogue One, is one of the puppeteers for the show.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, so before we go into episode 4, let's do a quick, roundtable. Ashley, thoughts?
That was crazy. That was a meeting that could have been an email. Star Wars style. I guess the best way I can sum it up. And just everything you could possibly think of went horribly wrong for almost everybody on here. So it'll be interesting to see how they come back from this.
Dave?
I like how Steven summed it up over in the chat. It's like we've all had that one day at work.
Yes.
that was that one day for Tim, and that one day for the whole contract crew. And it wasn't far from that one day for Cassian, except spoilers later on Scarif.
Yeah, it's just everything escalated so quickly, and even the townspeople are normally like they just kind of go about their business. They're kind of shook too. So
That's when you need Ron Burgundy. Well, that escalated quickly.
Exactly.
for real.
Kat, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I like that it's not tied up in a neat little bow. I mean, granted, it's not the end of the series, but nobody, like you said, nobody comes out a winner here except maybe, well, Marva and Cassian in the flashback kind of do because they escape and they get whatever little they were able to salvage because it seemed like they knew that Marva and her friend knew going in there they weren't going to have much time to salvage what they want because they knew there were others coming. So they seem to be the only ones that got away relatively clean. But yeah, this is everything because as we know, Andor only left with Luthen because he had no choice, and so it's like, oh, what's going to happen next? And it's like, and we know that Cyril's probably thinking, oh, geez, because now I've really stepped in it, and you know what's going to happen next. Which I love about it, and then this leading into this next episode, even wonderful.
So, Rogue One was very unique in the fact, for a lot of different reasons, but unique in the fact that almost every major character died, and that was kind of like different. Do you think if they follow that sort of timeline that it's okay for that to happen?
What do you mean if they follow the timeline?
Not timeline. I mean like the same kind of like feels like everybody that you kind of care for or as a major character will die within the show.
Not necessarily. I think there's all other, more creative ways to write an ending for a character that doesn't have to involve killing him all the time, especially in the Star Wars universe where the galaxy is literally huge and there's a billion and other. Like, just because a certain character from Rebels or whatever isn't in the original trilogy, the idea that, oh, we have to kill him off, we have to come up with this big convoluted explanation. I'm like, guys, A New Hope takes place over the course of, 3 days? And then Empire, I think, is roughly 6 weeks when everybody was kind of laying low. And then Return of the Jedi is also over the course of, a few days. So, we don't need to come up, we don't have to kill everybody just because they're not in the series. Same with Luthen. I don't know if he's going to make it out of the series alive, but I don't think that just because he's not in Rogue One that's indicative that he might get killed off. Of course, he could. And to your earlier question, I'm not bothered by the fact that I already know that Cassian's not going to make it. Case in point, all of my Batman graphic novels here. It's the same as sometimes you start reading a Batman graphic novel, he's not going to die in the story.
Yeah.
There's a few exceptions in movies when they kill off a superhero, but it's exceedingly rare. But that doesn't mean you can't enjoy the story and get invested in it.
So Lila has a brilliant idea, and I want to see this on a virtual Cantina shirt. We wouldn't have a rebellion if Tim wasn't jealous. Next time shirt, jealous much, Tim?
No, but we could also be like one of the man babies and say, no, Han Solo started the rebellion.
That's right.
So, but the thing is that what I'm loving about this, and we're going to see you more, obviously, in the next episode, which is why I'm so excited about all the Rebels implications, is the little factions blowing up and popping up in different areas around the galaxy that eventually all come together in one, cohesive unit, per se. But you see how they, going back from the Cloud Riders, going back to Solo, and, going to Rebels, you got the Ghost, and their stuff, which is awesome because a lot of the prequel and Rebels cities and planets are talked about in Episode 4, which I'm very, very...
Which is why, if you're interested, go back and watch episodes of Rebels Revisited and the Unifying Force, where there is a much deeper dive into these different factions of the rebellion.
Right.
So without, it's not too much of a spoiler, but I want to ask before we get into this. Now, obviously, there's going to be one artifact that I know that actually gets very giddy about in Luthen's collection. But the fact that the security team talks about an insurrection on Ryloth, what's your thoughts on that?
Oh my god, I was like, what did Cham and his buddy do now? I was so excited about that. So I love that they're pulling in planets like that. And again, I know that Dave didn't have anything to do with this, but it just goes to show you how revered revered that the groundwork is that Dave has already laid out with Star Wars and in the early parts of the Rebellion, that they'll just pull them into things like this and just piece it all together. So.
Yeah.
Or they're,
So excited
laying groundwork to introduce live action Hera.
Oh my god.
Just
Yep.
because, we're all of these shows are giving us Easter eggs for the next one, and the
Yeah.
next one out beyond Mando, which we know what's going on, is Ahsoka.
So
excited.
very, very excited. But yeah, before we get started again, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for the new members that joined us tonight, like Steve. Greatly appreciate you joining us tonight. We've had a nice crowd.
Steve is a friend. He prints all my Star Wars Rebels prints, so it's good to have him in here. He was in the YouTube chat last week, so it's good to have him here in the group.
Yes, thank you very much.
Appreciate
Thank you for joining us. Appreciate the comments and all that. We love to see it. The chats and everything going in different directions, which is awesome, which is what we're all are about. But Dave, why don't you do a little plug for VCN?
So, as always, coming out on the VCN, well, like Spencer had said earlier, if you want some content, tell us what the content is. Email us at, the Virtual Cantina Network at gmail.com. Email us there. Tell us the kind of content you want. It's been a little bit as we haven't put out any unboxings or big kind of show me stuff lately because it's been a whole lot of the same ones of us who have been doing that content. We want to see you send us content. We want your content on there. If you've gone to a con, if you've pre-ordered something super cool, post us a review, send us a video. We'll edit that up, throw some of our tags on it, and we want to put that on there because we want the VCN to serve what you want it to be, not just, me opening all the boxes of stuff that come to my house because I have an Amazon problem.
Yes, and Funko problem now.
Yes, and a Funko problem now. Whose fault
It's a
is
slippery slope, let me tell
that?
you.
Well, so it's a sideshow. When I when I ordered the Agent Cooper one, this is your first one. And
are you getting Cobb Van? Chris cute.
Yes, I just grabbed that. Mark actually gave it when I saw Mark down in Florida, so I could carry the sign that when we go to Rhode Island.
Yeah,
So
I got another thing for Carrie. I don't know if I'll do both.
Yes, we're gonna have a nice contingent at Rhode Island this year. Actually, I don't know if you knew. Dave's coming up. John Notman's flying up. Skip's coming up.
You can all crash at my house now. My mom will that.
I just counted out 33 Funko Pops.
You have how many?
Brave.
I have lost
33.
count of how many I have.
I just got rid of a bunch, like 5 totes worth. So
I wish I had 5 totes first. I had 21 totes still in my storage.
Oh yeah, there's still about that still in the storage unit. I kept my Rebels and Rogue One and Clone Wars ones. Which my friend wasn't too happy about because I have a Thrawn and a Rex. And those are worth a lot right now.
You have the New York Comic Con hooded Rex. The helmeted Rex?
Yeah. It's a shared exclusive one. It's not the New York Comic Con one, but it's still worth a lot in Thrawn. So he was like, "You sure you don't want to part with those?" I'm like, "Yeah."
So 2 great Star Wars pops coming out next week for New York Comic Con. One is a 2-sabered Anakin from Attack of the Clones, and then B. B's his own pop.
And Funko, I don't know if anybody's going, but Funko reservations are gone. They went first thing this morning. I was trying so hard to get in, but yeah.
And
so you can always get shared exclusive ones.
And is G.I. Joe Sarge a New York exclusive? It is, isn't it? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yep. Did you pre-order when I pre-ordered that?
The G.I. Joe Sarge, I didn't think was open for pre-order till October 7th.
Oh, okay. But because I know we both wanted to have it for Rhode Island.
Yeah, I think it's not because I've got the Hasbro one pre-ordered, but I don't think the pop is till October 7th.
And also want to plug the fact that HasCon is this weekend.
Oh yeah.
And Saturday is a big day because it starts with G.I. Joe and ends with Star Wars and Indiana Jones.
Oh my God, my poor wallet.
So I'm nervous about what HasLab's going to look like.
What do you mean it begins at Star Wars Wars and ends with Indiana Jones, what, like panels?
Basically releases. So
Product reveals.
Product
Yeah.
reveal. So it's a 2-day
It's
event.
a really long commercial.
So Friday ends with Marvel, opens on Saturday with G.I. Joe, and then like it's 3:00 on Saturday is Star Wars, 3:45 is Indiana Jones. Like they're
Now,
ending
I'm curious if this year, because I know they did this last year when I was trying to get the Trapper Wolf figure, they didn't have, they usually do like an early release for people who are as Hasbro Pulse members, but they didn't do that for Star Wars last year. It was just for, I think, everything else. But that was an exclusive that didn't go up for Pulse members first. So I wonder if they're doing the same thing with that this year.
Don't know, but I'm also kind of intrigued about the Paz Vizsla John Favreau figure that I got delayed, but then I got an email saying that it's shipping. So
oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't get that follow-up. I just said it got a delay, so maybe they found one for you.
I'm not going to complain about getting that, especially since I wasn't even at Celebration. I saw they would get one. So.
Yeah. My new Jar Jar Pop showed up today. Thanks, Ben.
You just ordered it 2 days ago?
I did.
During the show?
I did.
Well, since your boy's going to be there, so you gotta go.
Oh, and I already pre-ordered another autograph for him today too. So,
yeah, I need to for him, and then so.
We're going to have to tell Robert he can bring his Jar Jar poster that you and Anthony have already signed.
Oh, we should. I should actually.
Yeah.
Send me a bunch of pictures today, so I definitely need to talk to him about that.
Yeah, me too.
But where was I going? Oh yeah, so I got my so I was going to send. I got my Mallrats cast piece back today, which added Shannon Doherty and Renee Humphrey, and I was going to send it back for Jason Lee and Ethan Suplee, but since they announced Ethan for Rhode Island, I'm kind of like, I might as well just hold on to it because he's gonna be there. Why ship it out again?
Hi, John. Glad you're okay and that you got your power back.
Yes, good to see you, Governor. Miss you. I had a lot of fun with him last weekend. As everybody knows, that John was next to me at Oga's Cantina when I opened up my Kyber Crystal and pulled out my black one, which I was very excited about.
That's the luck of the Knotman, because he does. He just
really
puts
was.
that
I
juju on
was
there.
telling his wife about that when we were there. But yeah, I'm glad you're doing good, sir. But yeah, everybody, queue up episode 4. Obviously, you paused. Oh, hopefully paused by then, unless you're Lila and actually started watching it an hour ago.
And make sure if you're Lila and you started watching an hour ago, you rewind it to start at the beginning, not where you left off.
Absolutely. So, since, like I said, this is a very, very Rebels and Clone Wars central episode.
I feel seen.
Yes. Ashley.
All right. We're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
See, yeah, Steven is my people over there in the chat. It's like, doesn't understand the Jar Jar hate. It's a Jar Jar family here.
We're Jar Jar friendly.
Yes.
I also with Cyril got very much a Sam Witwer type of vibe. Like his look was very much.
He does look like Sam Witwer, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of ironic considering a certain artifact that shows up in Luthen's that has nothing to do with Maul, but it has to do with Sam Witwer, which I'll point out later on.
Yeah, I mean, you could almost
I texted you about it, I think.
You could almost pause and just look around the shop, and I'm sure people have. It's like, ooh, that.
Yep, I have a full list of all the shows, and that's why before we do these shows, I watch like Screen Crushed and all the breakdowns to try to get as much information as I possibly can to add to the show. Because obviously, like for example, in this episode, spoiler alert, when they talk about the dinner scene of who Mom Mothma has to sit next to, what the implications are with that going back to Sith.
Yeah, and they're really right now just
going back to Phantom Menace, because that character is actually a Phantom Menace.
Well, and they're putting it out there just for they're doing this for us. So when we're watching these episodes with the normals, that we have to stop and we can like be the guy on the blackboard and explain the connections.
Or Charlie Day, like, look at
Yes,
this.
exactly.
No, Charlie. Not only are all these people real, and all these addresses are real, they've been sending mail for weeks and weeks.
Ooh, Mephisto.
That's right. It's right there. Yes, there've been. I've had some coworkers who've stopped me and asked me, "Well, is it worth it? Do I need to watch Andor?" And I'm like, "Do
Yeah,
you
that's what I
have
kind of miss about
3 hours?
Before I
And
used to
why
work.
aren't you watching my show? Because that's what it's about."
My property manager actually, who's a fan who didn't get Disney Plus yet, asked me to email him the order of the movies that he needs to watch because he's a fan. And he said, then I'll go back and start watching the shows. I'm like, okay, we're going to be here a while. And I was picking up my mail today. He's like, so what's this new show? And I'm like, you watch Rogue One? I'm like, yeah, it's a prequel. He said, okay, so it's a prequel to the prequel. I'm like, yes.
So what's the deal and the significance? Because Cassian is so like dumbstruck with this. The different hyperspace on this. This is not normal hyperspace. It does not appear to be.
Right. It's probably like a separate channel that only the Rebellion knows about, so.
Ooh, then you start opening up like stuff and
Yeah.
connections back to the High Republic and the paths.
Yeah.
If you start
So,
bringing in the Nihil, it's going to be crazy.
Yep.
so that's what I thought when I saw this. I said, this isn't normal hyperspace.
Yeah. And see, like Cassian bringing into canon the karambit, that
Yep.
knife. It's very kind of opening up different kind of cultural kind of things that kind of harken back to his upbringing.
Right.
Oh, like
So,
Ellen mentioned right off the bat the possibility that Cassian's just going to steal the ship from him because that's something that a lot of people were theorizing last week. Well, Cassian only went because he needed a getaway. He's not necessarily on board with this yet. Oh, he might steal it.
20 million credits.
I love how Lucan is just like breaking it all down for him. Like, okay, what you want is important, but this is much bigger than what you want. Like, this is the future of what you will want. This is a future Cassian problem.
See, and did he not just name some new factions of the rebellion that we haven't heard of
Yeah.
before? We just opened up whole new stories.
Separatist Guerrilla. Is that Saw Gerrera's faction?
I don't know if we have a name for Saul's faction.
Yeah.
Okay, so he fought in Nibia when he was 16, and he was a
Minmin.
Yeah.
yeah. Hello, Mud Troopers solo.
Oh yeah.
Technically, he probably could have worked in the canteen and served food to Han.
Yeah. I thought that was the entire point of this is they may not do it, but now they have given us every single episode of the rest of this show to be looking for Han.
Yep.
Even the ship is cobbled together from pieces of a YT freighter.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if it's cobbled together or they gave it a name. He said it was a what's his thing, and Cassian said he had flown it. So I assume that it's a known ship, but by the same manufacturers as the YT freighter, I assume.
And it's got a hyperdrive.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying, it's a good thing we added Solo to the lineup because completely, they easily could have been with the camp at the same time.
It's a refresher course.
Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't care about the Star Path unit. He only cares about Cassian. So we have. I definitely think Bix tipped him off. Like, look, he's willing to do this.
We didn't talk about it between the episodes, but we got the first real swear word.
Oh yeah.
Star Wars.
And we all ignore it. Like, it's just like, it's another thing.
Yeah, but we've been talking about what's going to be the first one, and it's shit.
Well, I mean, they said that there were other things too. Didn't they say bastard a couple of times?
Yeah, but no one scoffs at that. But I have to say, like I said, as a fan, look at this Empire State Building. A fan of Attack of the Clones,
That's some
Coruscant
shiny
is my
boots.
Ellen
favorite
DeGeneres,
planet.
ladies and gentlemen.
And seeing Coruscant and different buildings and life there,
So we're getting to see ISB.
it's
It's
exciting.
huge. Like, it's real. It's a place.
Yep, yeah, the Ryloth sector right there.
Yeah.
That's up to
Right
you,
there.
John.
47 new cosplays to go out and buy the De Nuovo
Yes. Mark, you
uniform.
must be busy this week.
Go buy it now. All of these dudes, you need.
And get that
Okay.
badge.
Arvella 6 and Arvella 7 is where Krill was in Mandalorian.
Yeah, Armada 7.
Yep.
I like how much nicer this conference room is than the one on Death Star.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not just it's got like designs on the walls, like actual imprints. It's got more character to it.
It's a little classier. You can tell they spent money.
Yeah.
And another
The little pattern, it's now the mouse, so it's inside the Epcot ball.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, also they talk about a particular like sector in this conversation. I forgot the name of it, but they talk about it, and it's the same region that Camino, as well as Scarif is in.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they do mention Scarif and like transferring resources to Scarif during this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but see here we've got a new question as to why this dude has extra little pouches like metal cases on his belt. That's an add-on cosplay. Spice. There you go.
Which they now trade at
Don't get me started on that again.
at
We had
Opus.
this discussion Tuesday night. It's like I'm not ready for drug deals going down in the open at Disney. I mean, even if it's fake drugs, but
Right.
still.
And
the
Partagas.
Arvrian sector. That's what it was.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
it's
they're in this
just,
thing. Shipments going to Scarif, right there, all together,
and I've never seen so much green.
all dying. Is this a new planet?
Mm-hmm. So Partagas is played by the guy that played Mr. Corrin, I think, in Game of Thrones. So he was the one that created the mountain and made him kind of like zombie mountain. He was a little more into the occult and worked with Cersei on the stuff that you shouldn't be messing with.
So Clem, he took the name of the African American gentleman that helped rescue him.
Oh, I hope something bad
Oh,
didn't
is that
happen
the
to him.
guy's name? Okay, I was
Yep.
thinking
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
I was thinking of a different clip.
And Notman, yeah, I think I would have gone back for the box, and because it appeared to be something important, and I still think the name Star Path is significant. That's got to be. It's too close to things that we've seen referenced before.
The hooded figure coming down the mountain, kind of reminiscent of A New Hope, huh?
Yeah. And that's a fancy crystal right there. It's like multicolored, big,
Yeah.
long, giant.
That's a. It's weird because like the top part is blue, but the bottom part looks like it's been either broken or tampered with or
Yeah,
cracked off.
it looks different. It's the color fades, but it's also got cracks going through it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Don't take less than 50,000, but I want it back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's your hallways that are, the bulkheads between, very reminiscent of the Falcon.
That looks so cool. I want Rock Love to make one.
That will be available at Doc Andor's next
Well,
week.
they have black and red kyber necklaces, just like Luke had in Last Jedi, for sale at Doc Ondor's now.
Oh, that's cool.
This looks like the landscape from the Northman. Reminds me of that the farmland where the guy became a sheep farmer, the rolling hills, the mountain. It kind of looks a lot like that. I
Yeah.
don't know where they filmed this.
Or from Rob Roy.
Right.
Yeah, I do. Maybe it's not in Scotland. I'm not sure. I think they did film this in Pinewood, London,
Mm-hmm.
and surrounding locations.
And the voice of the Final Droid is David Collins.
I love it. Big useless wings again on a ship because, it's repulsors and space. Yes, we were talking about that earlier, Notman, how there's so many British and Scottish actors in Star Wars. I'm waiting for them to go to, like, the planet Tennessee, so we can get that accent in.
What about the
And then
planet
there's the trend how a lot of the Scottish and
Houston.
British are cast as villains.
Yes, we need the planet Houston.
Then we need, for the sake of reference, the planet Germany.
Yep.
Well, they have Planet Southie, so.
Yeah. Oh, Lila's got a theory. This is why Luthen has a Kyber. Was he a Padawan?
Ooh, that's a good theory.
Yeah, he probably would have left a long time ago. Or maybe he was a Jedi. He could have been. I guess.
And maybe he pulled that out of his son's lightsaber. Or his daughter's lightsaber. Oh, now I'm sad. Dang, Lila.
That is a deep backstory right there.
This is what happens.
Her here.
I'm a terrible influence. I'm sorry, Dave.
Uh-huh.
You saw that one. How let's go for on eBay. So just to say that I saw on one of my Funko groups, Blue Box, original Fett, and the original Jar Jar Binks in box for both of them for $200. And you can't on eBay. You can't even get the original Jar Jar. For
Oh yeah.
Did you get it?
No, I don't have that kind of funds right now.
No.
I'm putting that to Dave because I'm like.
Yeah, he's trying to spend my money. Is what he's
Oh.
trying to do.
I tried to do that when we were in Chicago too.
Yes, you did. And that's why I ended up with G.I. Joe Funkos now.
So this is where, like, their exploits have gotten them all in trouble, including their boss that told them to back off and leave it alone.
See, that's how the Empire goes down. It's like, I don't care if you weren't even in the room. Doesn't matter to me. You're nope.
Yeah, him saying he had nothing to do with it when he's the boss makes it even worse because like you're in charge of these people, but you're not supervising.
It is the ineptitude. Here's a list of everything you've done to allow this to happen.
Like, yeah, the Empire's bad, but I can't fault that this guy's actually right to take over this operation.
Yeah.
Think of the guy who wants to raise his hand and say something. Like, nope.
Way to go, Karn.
Well, and you can see even this dude because you see his insignia. Really, that he's a low level dude. He's got 3 blues, and that's it.
But he's still ISB, so that outranks all of these guys.
Well, it outranks the private security, but I'm saying, yeah. Well, Empire outranks private, rent-a-cops anyway. But still, as you're getting this whole dressing down from this low-level dude, emphasizes how low on the totem pole you are, and you just thought you were the man.
You're saying right there is that, okay, guess what? I know you were trying to do what you were trying to do, but you basically sealed the fate on, like, everybody. So Good job.
Did you just give Cassian her like poncho?
Yeah, I guess it's cold up there, and
Hmm.
she's used to it. She's got her Sherpa-lined jacket and
And like dog
hoodie.
collar? Isn't she wearing like a leather collar?
um,
Or is that like just a
it looks
leather
like an under
strap
jacket. Like
on
she's
her
wearing.
jacket? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a motorcycle jacket.
Hmm.
And it has that strap across the neck. I have a friend who makes Star Wars inspired ponchos and jackets and stuff. She made me a poncho recently, and it's really, really good.
Ooh.
It's got like a little space for greeblies and info sticks and stuff. So I wonder if she'll make one of these. It's
Notman
really
says
cool.
he feels like he's spent the last 2 days on Camino. It's like, that's sad, but not far from the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw pictures of Galaxy's Edge that have been shared on some of the Disney boards
Oh,
that
really?
look like Galaxy's Edge East is in a Camino rainstorm.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
My cousin is actually down there with his family because they have a home down there. My cousin Charlie, and they didn't lose power because their lines were underground, but that wind was terrible.
Well, there are TIE fighters in this episode. I forgot.
Yes, very briefly they're showing.
That guy has a very Tarkin-esque face.
He does.
So, okay, so where Cyril messed up, now she's basically saying, okay, well, I have more clearance than he does, and I'm going to do the same thing.
Mm.
Yep, see, revealed, got the thing.
Speaking of that guy looking a bit like Tarkin, I'm an advocate for Guy Henry getting an actual role in one of these shows.
I agree.
Just do it. You could have a young Tarkin spinoff, or it doesn't have to be Tarkin. It could just be another member of the Tarkin family, or just some guy in the Empire.
Yep.
Tarkin Jr.
I remember when I saw him in Revenge of the Sith, that one shot, my jaw dropped. I'm like, oh my god, it's Peter Cushing. It's like, no, it can't be.
Now, this computer sounds, and this mod droid, it sounds like Alan Tudyk.
I thought it was Alan Tudyk, but it's David Collins.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
The yellow
Damn, Dave.
screen on the
Yep.
left, just like
Okay.
This I thought was fun. Is that you kind of see like a Star Wars a ship bathroom, you know,
Refresher.
the vanity. Well, and it's very reminiscent, Mr. Notman, of the press a button and the little vanities that come out on the Star Trek cabin.
So,
He looks so pretty.
no, I think this is great, and also, like, obviously he puts on his dignitary wig, and then he has to, like, put on the face that, in practice,
He did a good job putting that wig on. That's, like, flawless.
and, trying to, the face that he has to do in public.
He looks like a 70s pimp in that picture.
He totally does.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man, I just gotta say, Stellan Skarsgård for the win for this series.
Yes.
Seriously, I love him so much. Like, if he ever did a signing, like, I would have a hard time. Between Eric Selvig and this, I'd be broke. Let's just say.
He does a signing and like Eric Selvig thinks they're gonna get ugly. It'll be like Barry Bostwick signing underwear. He'll be signing tidy whities. It'll be
Yeah. And I'm looking for the background of the green to see like four hobbits like walking in like the four.
No, this is probably Scotland. This is not New Zealand.
Yeah, it is Scotland. It'd be cool to go there, but it looks like it's pretty cold. And beautiful, though.
That was one place I did not get to go to when I lived over there. And there's the cantina I was talking about.
Oh yeah, that's just your basic Boy Scout deal.
The Bass Pro Shops and
Office politics, office politics, office politics. That's the way Star Wars rolls.
Yep, the Star Path unit. Went behind behind the ears.
Very fancy pants little screens in the back there.
Mm-hmm.
You fall here, you fall alone, and Callus definitely learned that.
Mm.
Yep.
And he's being rather corrupt right now by not
2
giving her
moons.
what she's entitled to.
Well, they're the bad guys. Not only are they the bad guys, they're the SS of the bad guys.
Well, remember what that Leia said, but I thought the Empire was good guys.
Yeah. Huh? Well, they were until they weren't.
Okay, and we have we got Mouse from Matrix over there.
I love Ebon Moss Backrack. Like, he's been awesome in so much. It's good to see him in
You
here.
know he's gonna die.
Why? Because I care about
No,
his
yeah,
character.
that's it. No, because he's asleep on the job. He looks like Mouse. You know?
That kid.
Yeah.
He also looks a fair amount like the just in the face without the curly hair, the young guy that falls asleep on watch during Rob Roy.
Yeah, I think that was intentional.
Mm.
Deep cut.
And he starts talking about tasty weed.
And the AK-47.
Yeah, I was gonna say, okay,
No mods, nothing.
Nothing, just the folding stock, which is common at this point. Okay, we put 4 horns on the sheep, but we can't put some greeblies on an AK-47.
Nope.
Nice. I like it. I dig it.
Now, this is the girl I thought was Andor's sister, so my theory is probably shot down.
Mm.
I don't know. It's not confirmed or denied, but he didn't recognize her, so
But how long has it been since he's seen her?
that's another point.
oh yeah.
It's still hope. Still hanging in there.
Maybe.
I can't remember. They don't fire those rifles in this episode, do they?
I don't think so.
I
No.
want to see what they fire. I'm trying to picture.
See if it is actually a slug thrower or if it's a blaster.
Yeah, because I'm having a hard time picturing it being a blaster because of how tiny the barrel, the opening of the barrel is. Because yeah, I don't know.
7.62.
People want Star Wars to be like real life.
Cinta.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of a far-fetched deal because, like, why would her name have been changed?
Why her name, if it was her sister?
Yeah,
Well, his name was changed.
it was. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Fair point.
They don't look thrilled.
No, there you go. The place that you can see but not visit.
They're like, oh great, a bunch of nerds are going to want to come hang out in our lobby. We can't deal with these
I
guys.
like
Yep.
that they got like this little river thing going on outside at the docking bay.
So
Yeah.
you got all the jump points as well up on the screen, which is kind of interesting. But it's great seeing like the undergrounds, you know, that you saw in a couple episodes of like Clone Wars, of the working class of Star Wars.
Yeah.
This is the moment I was alluding to earlier. I love that with this character that he really feels.
He didn't
like
even hit
crap.
the button.
And then they do this weird thing where they cut from him feeling so dejected to him kind of being stiff and bratty when he gets to the door. And it's like, that's a little weird.
Yeah. But when you watched him push the buttons in the elevator, he missed with his finger. Like
Oh.
2 of them.
It's like a Christmas tree.
Wah, wah.
I don't know,
Your house.
Lila. I mean, it's I don't know. It's awful convenient.
I mean,
His house smells like cats because his mom is Mrs. Fig.
Yep. Damn dirty squib.
That's the face I made when I had to move back home.
Oh.
Sorry.
Wah, wah, wah.
Smack.
Mother. Whack.
Oh.
So glad you're home, but you lost your job.
You smell like cat pee.
There's a
I'm gonna
different
yell at
accent.
Ethel across the hall. Damn. That's a cut.
We didn't see that kind of cut when Mando sliced himself when he first was using the dark saber in the the meat plant.
Yeah.
Then they sprayed it back to, and all of a sudden his pants are sewn back up.
Ooh,
Bacta
Lila
is
says
good
that
stuff.
Lila says that Daedra is Cassian's sister. I don't know.
That's my call, Nick. No, it's not. Someone else made it for you, and you had to suck it up.
She's trying to maintain that she's in charge here. That's why she's not saying that Luthen made her.
Right.
But they know better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Whoosh.
And there, for
Alright.
no apparent reason, is a repulsor ship has like a hot rod noise. George Lucas homage right there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's cool, Dave.
I mean, it's not that it's not, but you know, it sounds like it's got a V8.
Okay, so right there you see the Gungan shield from the battle. The back left corner.
Yeah.
Okay, right behind his coworker is Calicori.
Move!
Well, there's a set of Beskar armor back over there. That looks
Beskar
like
armor
Mando's
right over there.
armor.
Yeah, but this is before Mando, so one person actually said that it might be Jango's.
But it's all it appears to be a solid chess piece, not
Yep.
separated.
Okay, so as you look closer, the set of armor right behind, he's walking by.
Yep.
There's Starkiller's helmet.
Yep.
That Calicori is very intricate. It's beautiful.
And that sword is from Upatau.
Yeah.
Utapau.
Oh, yeah.
Utapau.
And
The
look at that,
Powans.
like, samurai type armor in the back.
Yeah, that's
Well, that's what we're talking about. That's the Starkiller helmet.
Starkiller armor, yeah.
Yeah,
Check out
Japanese,
these
that's
things.
a Starkiller, huh?
I think they used a similar one on one of the Knights of Ren.
And also Plo Koon's mask.
Have we seen that double-headed snake before? It looks very
Yeah,
Inca.
it looks familiar.
And that helmet is from one of the Kashyyykian generals.
Wow.
I know you saw the hands of Mortis. Where that might be for the temple.
Hmm.
It's like a relief of it.
Yep.
And
that's probably why it was on a shirt at Celebration.
there's another version of that same helmet in this. They're in a different room now, and you've got that same helmet again displayed.
Also, if you look over, I don't know if it's in this scene, but it might be in this scene. Up on the shelf to the right, a Lutheran is a Jedi and a Sith holocron.
Mm.
Go back. I want to see.
Like I said,
I need to go to Screen Crush and figure this out.
Those look like miniature carbonite blocks hanging on the walls.
Yeah, that's strange. I love how she's kind of schooling him. Like, yeah, I get it. You need money, but
Right there. It's right. You see right clearly, right to your left of Mon Mothma. You see these two holocrons.
Oh yeah, the square and the triangle.
oh yeah, wow, they're really big. And there's that chess piece.
Yep, and there was a good shot of the Kalkari.
So, again, there's the other helmet there.
It's an interesting dagger right there behind him as well.
Yeah, Sherry, go to Screen Crush on YouTube. They'll break it all down for you, all like the Easter eggs and the things you miss. Like Ryan, Airy, and the team are phenomenal at recapping that, so they can show you where everything is.
I watched for all their Marvel and their Star Wars stuff.
Oh yeah, and sometimes I end up yelling and being like, "No, that's not it." But yeah, most of the time he's really good.
And he's
Listen
obsessed
to his
with your mom.
apartment. He's like the Walter Donovan of this of this show.
Oh,
Yeah.
Very, yeah.
He's got a passion for antiquities.
Yeah.
And she's starting to feel the pressure.
Yeah. Hope they spent a lot of time on her too, because we never really get to see, or we haven't yet seen how they brought all these factions together, like we see them in Rogue One and in the original trilogy.
There you go. Look at the speeder bucket. It's got the same font as the Imperial ones from Andor.
And he's also wearing the same helmet that the kind of six-legged pilot wears in Solo.
In Rio?
Yeah, isn't he wearing that same helmet? Did he take out the same helmet and put it on the handles of the speeder?
Yeah, that's what it looked like. And this guy is like, I'm trying to think of her name, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Tala.
Tala, yes.
So he's Imperial, but he's deep undercover.
So he's Kingsley Shacklebolt.
Lieutenant Gorn. He doesn't have a lot of faith in Cassian either.
I'm smarter than other cops.
So I love the fact that it goes back and forth between the clean aristocracy and
Yes.
she's got a bonsai. No.
She has several bonsais on these very fancy pants and these like lace
That tailoring is
divider.
impeccable. Like that suit is so well made.
Starting to see what my friend said about this when I was on another stream, and she was asking me about Mon Mothma, the series from the trailer at the time. And I'm like, I must have missed it. But now I can see it. Yeah, this is...
They have like taken some serious time with like the architecture on this place.
Mm-hmm.
Very samurai, Jedi-esque type of hairstyle.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And some very like almost mid-century modern chairs around this table.
Sly Moore. Let's talk about her for a minute. Palpatine's right-hand woman, force sensitive, knew that he was actually Sidious, part of his ears, coming over to the house to talk to her.
Oh no.
No bueno.
No bueno.
And she's all over the prequels.
Yeah, are we going to find out that the husband is really... Is he just like completely clueless and self-absorbed in his richness, or is he going to be like a bad guy and doing it menacingly? I don't know.
No, I just think he's completely self-absorbed because...
Yeah. He's like...
Is the idle rich.
Mm-hmm.
Like Leia's uncle on Alderaan.
Mm-hmm.
They came to visit with the cousin.
Oh, yeah.
everything's boring and sad. That's somebody who's like comfortable with being wealthy and wants to keep it that way. Meanwhile, Mon has so much on the line for this.
I'm sorry about the crudity of this model. I didn't have time to paint it.
to paint it or build it to scale. Look, there's a
I was
DeLorean
trying to
going by in the
think outside.
background.
You see, this is where Chris Lloyd comes in and goes,
Hello, baby. Hello, baby.
Yeah, she won't stop walking on me unless I hold her. So
how's she been acclimating?
she's been good. She went downstairs for the first time today, and that lasted all of 3 seconds. So she'll get. It'll take time. It's been almost 3 weeks.
There's a little thing that says tying machine.
Yeah, there's right there. So here's a block. It's a brick. Flying
Yeah, the little
brick.
beginning of that model looks like almost like a World Between Worlds-esque type of
Yeah.
structure. It's a total Back to the Future model.
I guess this would be the perfect place to bring in Chris Lloyd if he's not going to be in season 3 of Mando.
Yeah, they're making Cassian out to be like this. I mean, they're kind of pushing him towards a Poe character where he's the pilot.
And doesn't the dam kind of look like the stronghold that they that when Mando pulls his helmet off and was talking to Richard Brake?
Yeah. I mean, I guess similar Imperial architecture.
And this is interesting. I think this is going to come into play for the rest of them. Come here.
There is no horizon.
There you go. Too soon.
Yep.
Hope we see it. Sounds pretty cool.
Oh, that would be. Oh, yeah. Nonsense. Okay, here's the science talk.
And the galaxy is on Orion's belt.
Galaxy's here. It is not on Orion's belt.
That's going to make it very difficult for me to decide what to get Vincent D'Onofrio on at Rhode Island because he's.
Oh, if you got Men in Black, there's no doubt, Spencer. Come on, that's not even a question.
One of him like stretching his face, like as far as possible.
Kingpin, good. Private Pile.
Okay, I'll give you Kingpin. Yeah, the Daredevil. That is.
Yeah, not
not
Private
the Hawk.
Pile. Like going completely ham.
Edgar suit. Edgar suit.
Stretchy face.
Yeah. Is that better?
With teeth out.
Yeah.
Lieutenant.
Always found that interesting. Some people say lieutenant, others say lieutenant.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that this guy over here was like a Tarkin-esque type of. And how ironic is that they announced today De Novo had the Admiral medallions, and now we're seeing them like all over the.
This is another thing that this series is doing that's cool, is that we're 4 episodes in and they're introducing this girl is clearly going to be another major character with an arc in this series.
Mm-hmm.
But did they say there be 4 distinct arcs that form together, and then we're in a second arc right now because the first one was just the introduction?
No.
Yeah, well, I think they said that they're going to be just 3 episode arcs is how this is going to play out.
I'm not sure, because this 4th episode is still very much a continuation of the plot and character arcs of the 3rd, so it would be interesting. I expect from the way they're setting this up that next week is going to be more of an action-driven episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of exposition setting up here. So
And next week is going to be the third day. It's going to be the raid on the armory.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be another exposition day and setup day, and then the sixth one will be.
and again, they're telling her the same thing that they kind of told Cyril, and that's where I think they might kind of team up, is that they both are on to like bigger things, like bigger problems, but their superiors are just telling them, no, there are bigger things to deal with than this. But it ends up, it is the bigger thing. So, and it's frustrating to them.
And I wonder if she's going to be paying Mon Mothma a visit, because if Sly Moore is on to them, or trying to go on fishing, as it were, then given the investigation is going to tie back, presumably to her at some point, because Luthen is the connection between all these people.
Datapad.
6 April 2023. Canary Wharf,
London, England. And
Get the
look at
Photoshop
the.
out, kids. This is happening.
Did you see the top? The top was an Arabic like translator.
Yeah.
It looked like.
Yeah.
Good night, Sherry.
Good night, Sherry.
Good night.
So here's another campfire like in Solo and Mando.
Yeah.
But this is more, I think, Solo-esque.
Is this what you were talking about at the beginning of the broadcast? You said it was good that you watched Solo because of something in the 4th episode?
This,
No.
and also the fact they talked about Mibian in the beginning of the episode as well, that he was a chef or a cook that time, that, it's very possible that he was there when Solo was on the encampment.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or here's your other tie-in: is it's Solo? Does he know about like Chewie when Chewie was in prison?
Oh, the Beast.
Yeah.
Well,
And it ends right here.
Da-da-da. Yeah, just kind of ends on a meh, but
well, so here's the thing, is that for those who were like, oh my god, it's so slow, it's not like Star Wars, this episode showed exactly where it was going directly into, your mother's Solo, if you want to, Star Wars, if you want to go that route. In a big way, especially with Coruscant, which, like I said, it's awesome to see different elements of Coruscant now. Ashley, heavy Rebels and Clone Wars influenced episode. Thoughts?
Yes. It was so good to see, like, the artifacts. And, again, they were talking about Ryloth and incursions on Ryloth and things like that. So they could have gotten the artifacts from Ryloth and stolen them from Imperial ships and stuff. But, I don't know. It's just so cool to see all these little Easter eggs and how it ties into the greater, pieces of the rebellion. And it's things you don't even... Like, again, if this had come out before Rebels and before all that, we wouldn't be knowing. So it's nice to have a little, like, on-the-nose salute to the fans that have loved Star Wars for so long and that are watching this and without being, oh my god, look, fan service. So I can't wait to see where it goes next. I can't wait to see more of the ISB. That was huge. Again, Callus. It's possible.
Yeah. Dave, your thoughts?
I mean, it just continues to interest me as to where it's going. We have taken into a second act is okay. Cassian's out of he's running from his murder rap over here, but that's kind of on the back burner because he's into this whole other gig going now. Let's see how he fills into this team. Do we, see, are these team members going to be something, or are they all going to die in the raid on the armory? Is that going to become a recurring theme in Cassian's life? That would be depressing if it were, but I'm not ruling that out as a possibility. But yeah, I mean, this one just really builds, and I'm ready to know more. I wish that this had been another 3-episode drop.
I know, that's the sad part.
Yeah, especially with this episode, not only continuing the threads from the third episode, but being very exposition heavy for what they're about to do, it makes it feel more like another chapter in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's okay. Act 1 was your first 3 episodes. We're getting into Act 2, and something is presumably going to go wrong either during the heist or they're going to be chased down like dogs, or something's going to happen on Coruscant. So somebody's going to leak something, and it's going to come back to bite them. So, it probably would have been a bit more convenient to drop 4 and 5 maybe at the same time. So it feels like you're getting the next act of the story rather than just a little bit of a bridge. It's definitely going to be a binge-worthy series once it's done if it continues with this type of structure.
I mean, it is. It's good. But did you see there's at least one service today? This is the number 2 show streaming right now.
Yep.
Number 2 streaming in the U.S. It's on up there in other countries, not exactly 2, but they're beaten only by She-Hulk.
Oh, wow.
Is that streaming
Competing with itself.
of all streaming services? This is the top, or just for Disney shows?
No, all streaming. This is beating out the Lord of the Rings show. It's beating out. I had a thing here. Let's see. The Game of Thrones. Where is it? So one right now. This is according to the Whip Watch report on streaming originals. Number 1 is She-Hulk. 2 is Andor. 3 is Cobra Kai. 4 is Dahmer. 5 is Rings of Power. 6 is Handmaid's Tale. 7 is Fate, the Winx Saga.
It's for kids.
I know.
Tweens.
Yeah.
Tweens. My nieces love it.
Reboot, The Patient, and Love is Blind. So that's your top 10 right there.
Oh, I'm gonna restart my Sandman rewatch.
You gotta get those numbers up there. Bump those numbers up.
Yeah, so a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah.
But this is absolutely an incredible episode, incredible series. I'm very excited about it. This is just about what I've been at least looking for. That's something different, that can still feel like Star Wars. And I think, like I said, maybe they released the first 3 because they wanted you to have a slow burn to the rest of it for a build-up. They wanted to get the prologue out in a bang, like, first.
Right.
Very possibly why they did up to 3. But very excited about that. Next week, we're going to be coming back for episode 5, and it's going to be a 1-episode night. So
Yeah.
we'll have to talk about.
And Sith Show Bob will be back.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I don't know if you guys saw the photo, but brilliant costuming. Love it.
Absolutely. Jeff is the king of, like, the Star Wars mashup
Seriously.
costumes.
Like,
The cosplay mashups are there between that and Rick Solo and Chew
Rick
Morty,
Solo.
Fat Mickey Vader, all there.
Definitely. And it's cool that I guess if you have HBO Max, DC's League of Super Pets dropped, and Diego Luna is the voice of the squirrel.
Ooh.
So he's pretty funny in that movie, and he's like, it sounded like him, but I was like, no, he wouldn't do this. And then I looked up the voices, and I was like, it's Diego Luna. Oh my god, he's hilarious. So it was really cute to see him in that.
I may have to go watch that now.
Yeah, it's a good movie. And Keanu Reeves is Batman. I mean, come on. You do have to watch it.
There you go. Which people were saying that he should play Batman for a while.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you all for joining us today. We had a nice crowd tonight, great comments in the chat. Please, keep an eye out for the Phase 2 preview that they're going to have this weekend on the Jedi Archives, and Rebels Revisited next week. What is the subject of the day?
All right, on Rebels Revisited, we're going to be doing a Season 1 rewatch of Episodes 3 and 4. So join us. We're just going to try to get through the rest of Season 1. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear a little bit about what you thought of this 4th episode of Andor. We'll get into that a little bit, because how can you not, with the Calicori and and Ryloth being mentioned. So we hope you guys can make it at 9 o'clock on Monday night.
Brilliant. So So until then, this is Dave with Kat and Ashley saying, "May the Force be with you."
Bye, guys.
May the force be with you all.